Besama werewolf with Feskadus Adawamla, Amen. Besama werewolf with Feskadus Adawamla, Amen. Besama werewolf with Feskadus Adawamla, Amen. Good morning, blessed love, this Sabbath day. As you can see, I'm in my car. I had to get out early today and drop various people, family, daughter to train station and partner somewhere else this morning. So, yeah, having to do the reading in the car. But also, like, this is the classic reason why I'm doing these readings publicly. Do you know what I mean? So I just want to thank you, because I'm doing these readings, you could say selfishly. I'm doing these readings because I want to read the Bible. It's not that I'm thinking I'm a preacher and teaching the masses or nothing like that. Do you know what I mean? My first and foremost motivation for doing these is because I wanted to read the Bible, a chapter a day. And I just knew that if I didn't do it in this way, then actually it wouldn't have happened. Do you know what I mean? We all have best intentions, but today would have been a classic day of, oh, you know, I'm busy today, I'll do it later, I'll do it tomorrow, and then tomorrow never comes, and then 6 months later you realise you haven't read the Bible again. Do you know what I mean? In that sustained way, because I want to read it from Genesis 1 all the way through to the end, you know. And in the Ethiopian Bible, it doesn't end with Revelation. It's got more books after Revelation. So I want to read it literally cover to cover. And that's not something that many people do. You know what I mean? In that kind of way. But, you know, I started to do readings before, many years ago. And yeah, got about halfway through and then it tails off. But it's definitely not every single day, but I've now been doing it every single day because I've been doing it in this kind of accountable way. So yeah, so give thanks to you for witnessing this journey of mine. I always wear the Nutella on a Sabbath because it just, yeah, it's a symbolic marker of the end of a month, end of a week, sorry, and beginning of a new week. So yeah, you can see I'm all a bit puffed up because I've got coat on and layers on and that sort of stuff. But anyway, not about how the look, is about the intention. So yeah, give thanks, and here is the reading. Exodus 34. Yahweh said to Moses, chisel 2 stones like the first. I will write on the tablets the word that there were on the first stones, which you broke. Be ready by the morning, and come up in the morning to Mount Sinai, and present yourself there to me, on the top of the mountain. No one shall come up with you, or be seen anywhere on the mountain. Do not let the flocks or herds graze in front of the mountain. He chiseled 2 stones of tablets like the first. Then Moses rose up early in the morning and went up to Mount Sinai, as Yahweh had commanded him, and took in his hand 2 stone tablets. Yahweh descended in the clouds and stood with him there, and proclaimed Yahweh's name. Yahweh passed by before him and proclaimed, Yahweh, Yahweh, a merciful and precious God, slow to anger and abundant in loving kindness and truth, keeping loving kindness for thousands, forgiving iniquity and disobedience and sin, and who will by no means clear the guilt, visiting the iniquity of the fathers of the children, and on the children's children, and on the 3rd and 4th generation. Moses hurried and bowed his head towards the earth and worshipped. He said, if I have found favor in your sight, Lord, please let the Lord go amongst us. Even though this is a stiff-necked people, pardon our iniquity and our sin, and take us for your inheritance. He said, behold, I make a covenant before all your people. I will do marvels such as has not been worked in all the earth, nor any nations, and all the people amongst whom you are shall see the work of Yahweh. For it is an awesome thing that I do with you. Observe that which I command to you. Behold, I will drive out before you the Amorite, the Canaanite, the Hittite, the Perizzite, the Hivite, and the Jebusite. Be careful lest you make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land where you are going, lest it be for a snare amongst you. But you shall break down their altars and dash their pieces, their pillars, and you shall cut down their avarice, their poles. For you shall worship no other God. For Yahweh, whose name is jealous, is a jealous God. Don't make a covenant in the inhabitants of the land, lest they play the prostitute after their gods, and sacrifice for their gods. And one call you, and you eat of his sacrifice, and you take of their daughters to your sons, and their daughters play the prostitute after their gods, and make your sons play the prostitute after their gods. You shall make no cast idols for yourselves. You shall keep the feast of the unleavened bread. 7 days you shall eat unleavened bread, as I command you, at the time appointed in the month of Abab. For the month of Abab you came to Egypt. All that opens the womb is mine, and all your livestock that is male, the firstborn cow and sheep. You shall redeem the firstborn of a donkey, of a lamb. You shall not redeem it. Then you shall break its neck. You shall redeem all the firstborn of your sons. No one shall appear before me empty. 6 days you shall work, but on the 7th day you shall rest. In ploughing time and in harvest you shall rest. You shall observe the feast of weeks, with first fruits of the wheat harvest, and the feast of the harvest at the year's end. 3 times in the year all your males shall appear before your Lord Yahweh, the God of Israel. For I will drive out nations before you, and enlarge your borders. Neither shall any man desire your land when you go up to appear before Yahweh your God 3 times in the year. You shall not offer the blood of my sacrifice with unleavened bread. The sacrifice of the feast of the Passover shall not be left in the morning. You shall bring the first of the first fruits of your ground to the house of Yahweh your God. You shall not boil a young goat in its mother's milk. Yahweh said to Moses, write these words, for in accordance with these words I have made a covenant with you and with Israel. He was there with Yahweh 40 days and 40 nights. He neither ate bread nor drank water. He wrote on the tablets the words of the covenant, the 10 commandments. And Moses came down from Mount Sinai with the 2 tablets of the covenant in Moses' hand. And when he came down from the mountain, Moses didn't know that the skin of his face shone by reason with him speaking with him. When Aaron and all the children of Israel saw Moses, behold, the skin of his face shone, and they were afraid to come near him. Moses called to them, and Aaron and all the rulers of the congregation returned to him, and Moses spoke to them. Afterward all the children of Israel came near, and he gave them all the commandments that Yahweh had spoken to him on Mount Sinai. When Moses was done speaking with them, he put a veil on his face. But when Moses went in before Yahweh to speak with him, he took the veil off until he came down. And he came out and spoke to the children of Israel that which he commanded. The children of Israel saw Moses' face, and the skin of Moses' face shone. So Moses put a veil on his face again until he went up to speak with Yahweh. For these few words I give thanks, blessed Lord. So we see here God telling Moses to reproduce the stone tablets, because Moses broke the first 2 when he was angry with the people. So Moses had to build, on God's instruction, he had to build 2 new tablets and chisel in the covenants and the 10 commandments, and it says 10 commandments specifically, and he brings them down. And then God reiterating his promises to the children of Israel, that he's going to be their God before them, that he's going to give them the promised land, and also instructed them again to keep the Sabbath day holy. And this is a very important, one of my friends reminded me that I didn't mention Seventh-day Adventists as a set of people who keep the Sabbath, so give thanks for that. And Seventh-day Adventists, absolutely. And I do have to say, I do love the idea of the Sabbath on a Saturday. I know in earlier scripts I've been talking maybe in a more blasé way, but I do love the idea of the Sabbath on a Saturday. And it's sad that it's deviated from that. I need to look up in the fullness how the Ethiopian Orthodox Church deal with it. My church particularly, they do services on a Saturday, but that's only because they share the church hall with another church who actually has their services on the Sunday. But once they get their own church, the services will be on a Sunday. But I know within the Orthodox Church there is a Saturday and Sunday observance, but I don't fully know how that operates because we don't have a kind of a full church in my area, so we might run things differently than somewhere that has a dedicated church. So I do need to look into that. But I do know that, yeah, within Orthodox theology, it's both the Saturday and the Sunday. But yeah, but I think, yeah, it's a really clear instruction. And then the other thing about this chapter, when Moses came down from Mount Sinai, his face was shining because he had been face to face with God. And as we know, he still hadn't seen the face of God, and he said that in previous chapters. But his face was so bright that the people were scared of him. So he had to wear a veil when he's speaking with the people, so he doesn't scare people. But then when he goes back in to speak with God, he takes the veil off. But he's back up in the Mount Sinai with God for 40 days and 40 nights. And again, it's this 40 word that we've been hearing a lot, that I spoke about in an earlier chapter. So yeah, we talked yesterday about this broken relationship between God and the people, and we're seeing the repair of that relationship. And then this is God now saying, I'm putting the past behind me, and I'm reinstating my covenant with the people, and re-establishing that bond and that promise, the same promise he gave to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So yeah, it's that repair, reconciliation, building of trust, and re-establishing the promises to come, really. And with Moses and as the continual intercessor between God and the people. So yeah, there's more to say. Even as Moses, I was looking up, Moses isn't a saint, he's a prophet, but after even all of the miracles that he's done, he's still not classed as a saint, but he is like the prime prophet within Judaism and Christendom and Orthodox. So yeah, but incredibly powerful narrative. But we've got more, Moses' story doesn't end. There's much more in the future books of Deuteronomy. Even Moses is going to be with us for a while. So it's a real privilege to read these words and get to see and read Moses' work in this way. So give thanks, have a blessed day, the Sabbath, and God willing, more tomorrow. Blessed love.